Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of Get Off the Damn Fence. That's right, we're back for another week of the 695 Crew production. Co-hosts Calvin Thomas and Justin Be Able to Barber Harris. Gentlemen, thanks for joining tonight.
What's happening, guys?
Ain't not much, man. Another day, another week. Great weekend of football, and we're going to talk about it. Everything that went down over the weekend. We saw some tremendous performances by some high-quality athletes, putting it all on the line for our entertainment. And I quite frankly enjoyed myself all weekend, and I'm glad to be with you here tonight. Glad to be joined by you two gentlemen. I hope you all enjoyed the weekend. We saw a lot of things happen starting on Saturday with Wild Card Weekend was tremendous with Jaden Daniels putting on a performance. And we'll get into that a little bit later. Also, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs were able to pull out a big victory. But we have to start with what happened on yesterday when the Baltimore Ravens traveled to Buffalo to take on the Bills in the divisional round matchup. And it was a sensational game all in all. 4 quarters of football is what the game is designed to show. And on yesterday, the Ravens came out gunning from the opening snap, went right down the field, scored an early touchdown, and looked like they had an idea of what to do to play that Buffalo defense. Buffalo looked like they were really stacking up to play the run. They held Derrick Henry in check for most of the first half. Pretty much, kept the pressure with the linebackers in. The Ravens tried to match that later on by putting in a little bit more Justice Hill to put a little bit more speed on the field. And Justice Hill was having a tremendous amount of success, averaging about 10 yards a carry. So the combination of those two backs overall for the day, I think they totaled about 160 yards on the ground. Not a bad showing. Of course, that's a far shot from a little bit shy of the yardage they put up last week against Pittsburgh. But still, they were able to run the ball with success. Also, Lamar Jackson was able to score 2 touchdowns through the air. But in the end, the difference in this ball game, from my estimation, from my seat, was the turnovers. The turnover margin in the playoffs is typically what will cost you mostly in these types of games. The team that can take care of football most and generally will come out on top. And the Bills took care of the football. They didn't do anything flashy. They were able to run the ball against that stout Ravens defense that has been number one against the run all year. Tip your hat to them. They had a game plan, executed it, and once they got down on the goal line, Josh Allen was able to power his way into the end zone for 2 touchdowns on the ground, which was very impressive. Great job by them. In the end, the turnover margin was the difference in the game. The Ravens come up short for the second year in a row when they come in hot on the road, this time in Buffalo for the second time, losing in Buffalo. I'm sure that's a monkey that Lamar's going to have to get off his back. But as a whole, I thought there were many reasons why this game was lost. Calvin, I'll start with you. What was your thoughts overall on the game? Then we can get into the minutia of it.
I said last week that the Ravens loss, it will be a combination of either turnovers. You're muted for whatever the hell you're saying right now.
I said 1 second though. I gotta give it up for Larry on that intro because his heart was in this game, and the way he just performed just now was just. I mean, that was beautifully done. But go ahead, Calvin. Go ahead.
Professional football, man.
You are
I'm a professional
right
job.
here, right now.
Hey,
that was excellent.
This is the game. I mean, it is the game.
As I said,
you win
last
some,
week,
you lose some. Go ahead.
If the Ravens lost, it will be a combination of one of 3 things: turnovers, penalties, and just bad and missed field goals or missed kicks in some sort. There were no missed kicks. It was strictly penalties and turnovers. They turned the ball over 3 times yesterday for 10 points. And those 10 points contribute to their loss, not including the penalties that were called. 2 egregious pass interference penalty, in my opinion, that should have worse been a no call and possibly could have been offensive pass interference. Not finishing drives as well. You get a long pass to Bateman. You're first and goal at the 4 or 5 yard line, and you turn into a field goal. 2 yard line. That turns into a field goal instead of a touchdown. You leave 4 points on the board. I'm not mad at the calls to go for the 2-point conversions either, because I would have done the same thing late into the ball game. You go for the tie, and you had it likely wide open, so it was a good call. You executed the play, but
ball got tipped.
It was a combination of turnovers and not being able to put the yardage that you were able to get to good use in all four ball games. Every team that outgained their opponent lost.
That's true.
Every team that outgained their opponent turned the ball over, except for Houston. Houston didn't turn the ball over. Those three other teams, Detroit, uh, the Rams, and Ravens, had 10 turnovers combined. They all lost. That was the key factor. Turnovers, turnovers, turnovers. And even still, after the first interception by Lamar, you can go back and look at the tape. You can say it was miscommunication. You can say Bateman ran the wrong route. Whatever you choose to say, I'll give my opinion later on. I know we'll talk about that. That led to no points. Then you had the Lamar fumble off of the terrible snap by Linderbaum. That led to a touchdown. And then you had the fumble by Andrews. That led to a field goal. So that's 10 points right there. That 4-point swing by not scoring a touchdown with Bateman contribute with the 4-point swing possibly of them getting that pass interference. That could have been a 7-point swing. Maybe they missed a field goal and Ravens go down and score. You never know. All those things contribute to the loss. But one thing I want to really focus on was the defense. That first half defense was terrible. They got around up the middle. I didn't see Roquan for the first 3 quarters. We were in a group. I said, I haven't heard Roquan's name. I haven't seen him make a play. I saw Robinson make a play on an RPO with Josh Allen right at the line of scrimmage. I saw him make a play later against Cook right at the line of scrimmage. But besides him, that first half, they got whatever they want against this vaunted Ravens defense in the run, in the pass game. I think Josh Allen had I think it was 2 plays for losses through 3 quarters. And that was one was a -1 loss, a -1 run, and I think one was a Tavares Robinson sack. So first off, I'm going with the defense, and then everything else trickles in. But notice who I did not say Mark Andrews. I haven't mentioned him yet. And
we'll get into that.
We'll get into that later. But everyone who blames one miscatch doesn't watch football, in my opinion. And they're just showing those are those people that you can't have conversations with about football because all you remember is what happened last, not what happened the other 58 so-odd minutes of the game. So,
Justin, your thoughts?
All in all, this is what happens when one team is. I feel like Buffalo was punked media wise. I feel like people kind of pretty much discredited their defense. They had all their players this time around. I feel like they just heard a lot of the negativity towards what the Ravens was going to do to them. And as a whole, eventually you get tired of it and then you actually want to do something about it. This is what football is all about. And sometimes people can make plays and sometimes people can't. Buffalo came with a higher will, a stronger will than what the Ravens was able to dish out. That's what it is. They played inspired football. They really did throughout the entire game. They made more plays. They made higher risk turnover type plays, and that's what changed the game really. They realized the significance of what was going on. I just don't think Baltimore did towards the whole entire game. Baltimore got their act together, and then they fell short when it came to the turnovers and missed opportunities. Buffalo really didn't. And that's like I said, y'all pretty much said it, especially Calvin, the turnovers. When you play mistake-free football, most of the time you win the game, if not all the time. As a Tampa Bay fan, I said this last week, Baker made one mistake, and that one mistake cost us the entire game. And that's what when you play for turnovers, that's what happens. So if you would have just held the ball a little bit more secure and took advantage of situations, y'all be going to Kansas City right now. So that's that. Just all in all, before we get into like the real details of everything, that's just the number one thing I I witnessed myself is the fact that one team was just a little bit more prepared to play versus the other team. But I will say this: I will not blame the coaching staff. Not this time around. I think this is a players thing more than anything else. I believe the players made the mistakes. You can scheme up some more things. You could have did a little things better. But for me personally, I believe that it was the players that that let everybody down. I don't think the Ravens came to play as soon as they got out the gate.
Okay. So everybody had a turn to speak. There we go. I think the Ravens did come out prepared to play on offense. They went right down the field, played well. All things considered, the weather, the field conditions, all of that, no excuses to be made. I thought Buffalo equally came out prepared. On the second drive of the game, Buffalo gets the ball, goes right down the field. We had them in the third down. Josh takes a deep shot right down the center of the field. The matchups they created, they play man. The Ravens did. Brandon Stevens got left in a quarters defense of some sort. Got beat right down the seam with a deep pass to Shakur. Good play. No, not going to take nothing away from him. I thought the Ravens did a good job adjusting later, getting Stevens off of those mismatches. You didn't hear nothing about.
He didn't play a lot, though. The other thing.
He did play. They put him back at safety.
When Darius got hurt.
They did it throughout the game. I watched the game again. You haven't watched it twice. I watched.
But I'm saying, if you go back and look, he played 30 snaps, 30% of snaps.
He was mixed in. They hit him. Is what my point is. You hide players that you know you can attack. Tre'Davious White knows that Buffalo team, so he should play more than Stevens in that type of game. And what happens? They put him in. I think he played very good coverage. They go deep shot down the left rail. Do you think that was a push off, Justin? Do you think that was a clean a play, or do you think that was pass interference defensively? Be honest.
It could have been PI.
You think that was pass interference?
Defensive or offense?
It could have been PI. It could have been pass.
You know the answer. Offensive. It was a clear robbery. Set them up down, on their first and goal. That changed the trajectory of the whole first half. The Ravens definitely put themselves in the hole. That throw Lamar made, miscommunication, him and Bateman, whatever the case, you can't make those mistakes. Thankfully, it didn't cost you points, but guess what it did cost you? It cost you a possession. The Ravens did not punt the entire night.
Yeah.
Think about that. Every time the drive was stalled is because they did something to themselves. Lamar Jackson, everybody saying Lamar doing too much. Lamar fumbled the ball. He shouldn't have done that. Well, it was a terrible snap if you go back and watch it. He picks the ball up. How many times have we seen Lamar Jackson do a play very similarly?
Make sugar out of shit.
Make something happen, and he throws a touchdown. And then we laud over it. Oh, my goodness. What a fantastic play by Lamar Jackson. This time, slippery conditions. Ball slips out his hand. Just so happened, normally, those fumbles, one of our offensive linemen falls on it. Something happens. It was all Buffalo players there. Luck of the draw sometimes. They score on that. Hey, give you that. Did that say that the Ravens didn't come out ready to play because of a fluke fumble? I don't think that says they didn't come out ready to play. Did that say the Ravens didn't come out ready to play because the referees called a phantom pass interference call down the left rail? I don't think that means they weren't ready to play. So that notion that the Ravens didn't come ready to play after they went right down the field like a hot knife through butter, the first drive was setting up to stop them 2 drives back to back. Had if it not been for the one busted coverage on your worst player, I'll say Brandon Stevens. I don't care if he came ready to play. That's how he played typically. But then the pass interference call was absolutely atrocious. So no, I don't think the Ravens came out not ready to play.
Would you? Let me. I got to interject for one quick second.
What's your interjection?
Would you think that was Lamar Jackson's worst interception of the season?
The first one?
His interception that he just did.
Yeah,
it's only one.
No, was it his worst?
Almost the worst interception because the other ones was caused by other people.
No,
right?
Okay. If you don't, my opinion of that one, you don't know what it is because when he threw the ball, Bateman tried to clear out and get right of the safety, thinking he was going to go up the seam. Lamar already threw the ball.
The ball was already out.
You don't know if Bateman ran the wrong route or did Lamar get rid of it too quickly because it was going to be a wait and see what kind of coverage it was. So I'm not going to say
that only threw 4 interceptions to have an interception in this type of ball game. That is, I think you just glossed over that.
The last interception.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
The last interception
if he only had 4
was a miscommunication with Bateman as well.
Exactly. If he only had 3 of his interceptions were to Bateman, think about that. Now, if he's only had 4 interceptions the whole year and he throws 1 in this game, and it looks like a play that nobody can explain. It's not like he tried to spit it in through a tight window. It's not like a ball carried off somebody's hand. It's a go route, clearly, that Bateman cut off his route and didn't. It went right to the safety. Clearly, that was a miscommunication. But let's say, wouldn't that be the anomaly? Wouldn't that show that this wasn't something he typically does? That
right. You don't want
anomalies
right now. You don't get benefits out in the playoffs.
Nobody's doubting that. Nobody's doubting that. Thankfully, it didn't hurt him. It didn't hurt him. Yeah. Yes, it cost him a possession. We can agree to that.
But for a team that did not punt, that possession, you can literally say cost him 7 points.
We're taking this beat by beat. We can say it cost him 3 points at minimum. All right. Keep moving. Late in the game, let's just go to the end of the game. Because we talk about Lamar's turnovers and we hold that against him as people want to put blame. I have not watched any coverage. I don't care what other people are saying. I just know how people talk typically after these games go. So I'm going to assume that Lamar's probably been taking the heat, been saying he can't win the big games. He doesn't come up big. He turns the ball over, yada, 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 whatever. Late in the ball game, down 8, under 2 minutes to go, he drives his team down the field. Now, mind you,
80-something yards.
Rashad Bateman
after that penalty
gets hurt, not in the game. We know Zay's not playing. So he's playing with, name his wide receivers. Can anybody aside? Now, we know Tyron Wallace because he's been, a special teams guy who they put in there from time to time.
Had a big catch, too.
Nelson Aguilar, right? That's his other receiver. Who's his other receiver? Come on, give me another name. What we got?
Naboy Sims.
Naboy Sims. Where we know him from? A kick
Houston.
Returner that we picked up in the offseason. Then they got another receiver who had a big catch on this play. I thought he made an excellent play. He caught the ball. I don't know his name.
I keep wanting to say Bo Bray, but it ain't him. That's the safety.
I don't know the guy. But these are the weapons because this loaded, stacked Ravens team that everybody said, we know they got everything they need. Whatever, fine. He goes down the field. He targets his tight ends, Mark Andrews, and his Isaiah Likely hits him right down the middle of the field. Touchdown. All you need, 2-point conversion. Tie this thing up. Give yourself a chance. Let the defense bow that back for the next minute, 30 seconds, whatever. So, to me, he made the mistake. He dug himself out of that hole. He puts the ball where it needs to be. I'm not here to crucify Mark Andrews. That's not my role. But look, at the end of the day, if Lamar got to hold some of this weight, everybody got to hold some of this weight. You can't fumble that ball because you're trying to do too much getting up the field when you clearly have, you're in the middle of the field. You're Mark Andrews. How fast do you think you're going to outrun everybody else? Let's be real. Mark Andrews, catch the ball, get on the ground. That has been his MO most of his career. We saw him running that Houston game looking like he had a piano on his back. Why? What did you think you were going to accomplish there? Why are you trying to extend the play? And then at the goal line, which is your bread and butter, I will take Mark Andrews over probably anybody outside of Travis Kelce when it comes to making big-time catches in the red zone. I'll take Mark Andrews probably even over Kelce because Kelce hasn't even been that touchdown machine that Andrews has been in a couple seasons. For him to have that wide open play and that ball to be dropped the way it was, how can we then go and blame Lamar Jackson for that? I have an issue with that. I got a real issue with that. Calvin, am I wrong?
No. Look, you have not heard any Lamar Jackson slander coming from me. I don't believe it. That he is the reason. He is the reason why they had a chance to win that game with a minute 33 left. He's the reason they went 88 yards and scored a touchdown with him pushing the ball to who's the receiver again? We just named.
I have no clue.
Look, you ain't getting no Lamar slander from me. I'm off that bandwagon right now. I'm talking about everyone else around him. I'm not even talking about the coaching. Harbaugh, in my opinion, called a great game.
Time management was great.
Time management, calling timeouts when needed, trying to get them the ball back with as much time as possible late in the fourth quarter.
It worked.
I had no problem with none of that. If you want to say he should have gotten Monken's to get the ball to Derrick Henry, I'll say, look, Justice Hill had 5 carries and 60 yards. I'm not necessarily going to be on that pushing that bandwagon either. So it's got to be the other players.
I just want to clear that up because I'm hearing a lot of people just want to leap.
No, you're reading a lot of it on Facebook from people who only know one thing when it comes to football.
That was my issue because I haven't watched any national coverage, haven't listened to local radio. But last night I'm scrolling on my timeline, and emotional fans say emotional things. And I said, you know what,
I'm sorry,
y'all gotta
Mark
be
Andrews.
Hey, y'all gotta be smarter, man. You gotta be smarter.
Look, we've had this conversation about how you can only talk football about certain people to certain people, and the masses don't deserve your opinion to an extent because they're going to argue about something that's irrelevant or not important. So.
At the end of the day, does anybody think Mark Andrews went out there with the intention to fumble that ball? Does anybody think Mark Andrews went to the corner end zone like, hey, I'm going to drop this one today? Like, what are we doing? Oh, he didn't come prepared for the game. Oh, he didn't? Oh, he didn't come prepared. That's why he dropped it. He wasn't prepared. Okay.
Well,
he wasn't coached right.
It showed one thing, though. It showed, and you brought up Travis Kelce in your comparison. Travis Kelce is a playoff performer. Mark Andrews is not. I had to look. Somebody put a stat out, and I was like, "No, that can't be true." And I had to look at his career playoff games. No touchdowns, very poor performances throughout his whole entire career. So he is not a playoff performer. It's just we got him 8 games of this now not performing.
And let's give the
I can
full.
Kill this real good.
Let's give the full representation of these stats. 2 games this season. He did not play a full game with Lamar last year because coming up the ankle injury. So that's 2 games last season. So when he played against Kansas City, he played what? 20% of snaps, 20.
Yeah, that was
we saying like that.
Back.
So that's 3 games right there.
To come back.
He hasn't played he didn't play a playoff game with Lamar outside of Tennessee and Buffalo in 2020. Was he a major factor in 2019 when Lamar won his first playoff? When Lamar won his first MVP? No. So he's got 4 playoff games which he was a starter.
Essentially.
2 this year. 2 this year and 2 in 2020. So we're talking about everyone talks about an 8-game sample. It's 4 games which he was a starter. You want to count Kansas City because he laced them up because he with a broken leg after 6 weeks? Count it. This is one of the people you see something on a piece of paper and you take it as gospel and you don't dig into the stats. And
here's another thing. Thing. Lamar Jackson, early in his career, his number 1 receiver was who? The tight ends. It's always been the tight ends. Hollywood Brown was never this guy anybody feared. Nobody ever said, oh, we got to really worry about Hollywood Brown. We really got Mark Andrews. Early in his career, Lamar Jackson was a middle of the field passer. Everybody knows that. The best friend of any young quarterback is the tight end. So what you think going to happen in the playoffs? Defense is going to do what? They're going to garner their whole playbook, their whole defensive game plan towards stopping Mark Andrews. So I'm not saying he can't get open.
Okay,
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he shouldn't get open. I'm not saying he shouldn't do better. What I'm just saying is the sample size that those stats are leaning to that speaks to Lamar hasn't been his best, 1. 2, we've seen that Lamar's been more of a running quarterback when it comes to early in his career. So the passing stats are always going to be a bit skewed in that direction. So it's just looking at it that way is tough because we typically when we were at our most success, we ran a 2 tight end system with Hayden Hurst and Mark Andrews. Then later on, now we got Likely. Likely, what's his yardage? What's he done? Last year, he was a breakout year for him. Andrews coming off that leg injury, as Calvin said. We still was expected to win the AFC championship with Andrews just coming back. With no running backs.
No running game.
No running game. You know why? Because we got Lamar Jackson. So none of that is ever taken into consideration when people say Lamar should get it done. Well, you can't say that no wide receiver want to come here and play because we're a running team. Wasn't that the narrative before this year? Wasn't that the narrative? We go out and get these veterans like a Dez Bryant. Go out and get these veterans like a Odell Beckham Jr.
Deshaun
Jackson, because no big-time receivers come to Baltimore. But all of a sudden now, we go get Derrick Henry, and Derrick was getting bottled up in this game. People say, oh, he only got 16 carries. Well, goddamn, did you watch the game? Did you watch the game? He got warm late, But the possessions were so strange.
Justice Hill outrushed him with a third of the carries.
Justice Hill was gashing. And what happens is once you put Justice Hill on the field, the Bills had to go to that nickel package. Is what you wanted. You wanted them small guys on the field, and then look what happened.
They stayed in base when
they was in that big man defense.
When
they was bottling up everything.
When they went base with Justice Hill, that's when he was able to turn the corner.
Thank you. That's called football. That's knowing the game, not just watching a stat sheet and saying, "Oh, he only got this amount of carries." Well, why did he only get that amount of carries? Did somebody else get carries that was also producing? So what difference do it make? But again, I'm the guy who said Derrick Henry should get 25 carries a game, and y'all told me I was crazy. But in the course of the game, once you see that they're stopping it, that's what the coach is there for, to make adjustments. And if you look at it, from the third quarter, the only time, and I'll say this, that I thought they did themselves a disservice was when Bateman caught that big play all the way down to the 2-yard line.
Second quarter.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah,
that was second quarter?
Yeah. That's when they kicked the field goal, made it 10-7.
You needed to score a touchdown
14-10, I'm sorry.
With Derrick Henry running the ball.
Yeah,
to me, the game was lost. I don't care about the turnovers. The turnovers is fine at this point.
Yeah.
We already that's easy to see. You turn the ball over, you lose the game. Of course, I care about the turnovers. Let me rephrase that. Of course, I care about that. But what I'm saying is the drive that the game really could have been different on was that drive. Yeah. You catch a ball down at the 2-yard line, and you got Derrick Henry. I'm sorry, guys. Lamar, I love you, pal. But Lamar drops back to pass on first down. Right? I think Justice Hill might have ran once and got lateral and lost a yard or something like that on first down. The next play, Lamar drops back. Instead of just throwing the ball away, throw it out the back of the end zone, he takes a sack. You cannot take that sack. And then on third down, you left with a little dump ball, and you had to settle for a field goal. You get first and goal at the 2-yard line. Yeah. I don't care if you got to run it 4 times. Derrick Henry need to touch that football. That's what pissed me off. If I'm going to blame the coaches for anything, that's the drive I blame them for.
That's a 4-point swing. So if you get that 4 points, it's 21-14 at halftime. And all of a sudden now, instead when your defense shows up second half, you're kicking field goals. You need a touchdown to go up by 4 or 5 points.
Yeah,
you kick that. So that's between that and the defensive pass and that pass interference calls. Those are two. That's an 8-point swing right there. Like you said, they went Derrick Henry -1 yards. Lamar gets sacked, and then it's a pass to Derrick Henry.
So it was Derrick Henry. Okay.
Yeah, it was a pass to Derrick Henry.
Yeah. So it was. So they gave it to him,
and then
like stuffed.
Another thing I'll say, if I hear anyone else say, "Oh, Derrick Henry dropped that pass early on," they scored on that same drive. That was irrelevant.
Yeah, that's irrelevant.
That was irrelevant. If you want to say they would have scored a minute earlier, okay.
No, you want to drag it out. That was a nice long drive.
That was the first drive of the game.
First drive of the game. They came out with a statement.
But like I said, I agree with you.
That was the drive.
That Bateman, you got to score. And I'm not saying they should have went for it on 4th down either. I'm saying if it's the 2-yard line and Derrick Henry gets stopped, then I do it again with Pat Ricard, and then I bring an offense and the unbalanced line. And there were no Lamar design runs either. I don't know if that was intentional. I don't know if he was still banged up in the Pittsburgh game. There were no Lamar design runs from that RPO either. Now, even out that base offense or that base defense, I think Lamar can turn the corner, or I can think you can give him the option of throwing it directly over the top, who I think is going to jump up and get it. At worst, is going to fall down for an incomplete pass. But like you said, and I completely agree with you. That was a key point of the ball game because all of a sudden you're down 1 possession going to the halftime, and your defense turns on the second half and allows 6 points?
Yeah.
Am I correct?
2 field goals.
So
the defense in the first half was horrible, but in the second half, they came together.
They did what they need to do.
They came
together
with
no turnovers.
With no turnovers.
With Washington out for a couple plays, with Marlon out for
Hamilton,
a couple plays.
Yeah. So, that's true. Go ahead, Justin.
So, like I said, you guys are, saying every significant point that needs to be made, but the obvious, and you mentioned it, but this is playoff football, as we all said before, and it is about 1 or 2 plays. Most of these games come down to 1 or 2 plays. So I'm not going to move the goalposts or move the spotlight off of your tight end. He failed you. Period.
No, we know that. We know that.
So
yeah.
no. When I mentioned it, you started to mention Derek. You mentioned a
But,
lot
but
of other stuff.
that's
No,
down
see,
the
you're
list,
doing
though.
it. You're not. It's number one. It is
It's
number one. You put he
wait,
is a primetime player.
wait. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
Your primetime player.
No.
Is he not?
Let me ask you a question.
Is he one of your best players?
Turnovers
A turnover
are not as
and a
important
drop
as that.
and a drop.
Okay, so a missed call on a pass interference. A missed call on a pass interference is not as important.
We're not
so
talking about that because you had opportunities.
You're saying that is the most important
aren't
play.
created equal.
You're saying that's the most important.
Equal.
You're right. They're not created equal because like we just said, he didn't score
in the
on one
second half.
So it's
were
not
you
created
not
equal.
driving? Were you not driving? And that fumble that the linebacker did took all the wind out.
So are you talking about? Okay, you're changing. No. Now you're changing. Is it the fumble or is it drop pass? Pick one because you're changing it now.
Both.
Pick one.
Both
No. Pick one. You can't go from the drop pass to fumble. Pick one. You just changed. You just said drop pass.
Look, I'm not changing anything.
I went through look, because we're going to give Josh Allen his credit in a second. He playing next week. We not. I think Lamar summed it up correctly in his post game. They all did stuff that cost them this game. They all made mistakes. I wrote on Facebook last night, not all turnovers are created equal. Turnovers that happen at the end of the game are always going to be more crucial to me, or big mistakes that happen at the end of the game
because you don't have time to recover.
Because you don't have time to recover.
Can we also say, how the hell did you get the ball punched when the guy's right in front of you? One, he punched from behind you. He literally was right in front of your face and punched it out.
I mean, he wasn't looking.
He stepped out of his comfort zone. He tried to do too much. And he stepped out of his comfort zone, which when I reached, I'm like, maybe I missed it. You to stay your game.
I missed it. Maybe the guy from behind, he was literally right in front of him and punched it out. I'm like, how did that happen?
And to that defender's credit, he realized that Mark Andrews isn't going to go too much further than that, and he realized he had help behind him on top of it. So he made the peanut punch, the peanut Tillman punch, and it worked out for him.
Usually peanut Tillman punch is like to the side or from behind, not
Andrews was not looking. I'm telling you, he did the same thing on the goal line. That's why he dropped that ball. He was trying to see his position and to see if he could get in the end zone. He did not even look in the ball into his hands. So anyway, I said, let me divvy this blame up. I think everybody has a piece of this pie. Now, I put this. I want you to divvy it up, Calvin. You tell me if I'm right or wrong. Because for me, 10% going for too early. You got to say it happened. Some people will say that that's part of it. I would say, okay, if you take the extra point, that end of the game, all you need is to feel an extra point, ties the game. So those people who feel that way, I'll give you 10% of that pie. Play selection, I think that plays a part. Hey, first and goal, you gave it to Derrick Henry, you lost 2 yards or you lost a yard or whatever. Second down, go to him again. But I think even more so, Lamar should have threw that ball out the back of the end zone. So I'm not going to put that all completely on play selection. On the first 2-point conversion, Lamar gets the ball tipped. It looked like it was a good play. Likely was open in the front of the end zone. Yeah, so I'm not going to blame the play selection for that.
Yeah, I agree.
Third, Ravens run defense. They got to eat some of this, man. You got run down your throat. Josh Allen, I think he threw for like 140 yards, maybe. It was
147, I want to say.
Nothing impressive. Nothing shiny and big time. I think he had one big time throw the whole game. And that was that one on that
127. I'm sorry.
On that first drive. He had that one throw down the seam. Other than that, they let Cook get out on him a couple times. They let the backup. The backup had some gashing runs on that run defense. So yeah, they gotta eat some of this. Then Lamar, you turn the ball over, man. Yeah, one of them didn't give up the score, but you gave up possession. And then that fumble. Again, I'm not putting that all on him. I'm putting that on Linderbaum too. I'm putting that on, like, you got to get your snaps. We've seen issues with snaps in the past. That can't happen. And we were right there going in for a score. That took points off the board. That's a 10-point swing possible. And then I'm sorry, I'm giving 30% of the blame to Mark Andrews. Bruh, you're a veteran. Justin, you outlined it. He hasn't had any great games in the playoffs, but you had an opportunity to be a hero. You had an opportunity to step up for your quarterback. You are the all-time leading touchdown player for the Baltimore Ravens. Think about that. In the history of this franchise, you're number one in touchdowns. So in those moments, it wasn't a touchdown, but it was a scoring play. You got to catch that ball. I'm sorry. I love you, guy. And I hope they don't get rid of you. I hope you come back next year for another year. I love the 2 tight end sets that we got. I'm not saying get rid of you. I'm not saying you don't deserve to be forgiven or not. You don't need no forgiveness, but I'm just saying you don't deserve the benefit of the doubt for the years you put in here, the many touchdowns you scored. But, pal, you got to score. So, yeah, that's how I'm divvying it up. Calvin, how you divvying it?
The only thing I would change that Ravens run defense to 30%. I'm gonna take 10% off of that and give that to the offense as a whole. We saw Linderbaum with a bad snap. We saw Linderbaum get pushed back on a snap in which he basically tripped Lamar, and that led to losing the 3 yards. And I believe that they ended up kicking a field goal on that drive as well. We could go back and look at the offense, just drop pass by Derrick Henry early on to the tip. The tip of the 2-point conversion to the drop pass. I'm accumulating all that onto the offense, giving them 10%. That's the only other thing I'll do because I feel like the offense as a whole didn't play well in the large spurts during that game, especially in that first half. You can say the miscommunication. I'm just going to throw everything in there. So it accumulates the Lamar turnovers and Mark Andrews mistakes as well, but it's also going to play into account the offensive line, who I think played poorly in large spurts, especially up the middle. That's the only thing I'm going to change.
You talking about for run blocking?
I'm talking about for run blocking. I'm talking about Linderbaum just getting beat up to where the point where he was scared to snap the ball quickly.
Well, I think the surface was slipped, and he wasn't.
Yeah,
he wasn't,
I mean, it didn't affect Buffalo though. It didn't affect Buffalo. I mean, that's home field advantage, but I didn't see Buffalo slipping and sliding the way I saw the Ravens on multiple occasions. So,
well,
that's home field advantage
because we practice inside with the fans on.
So I thought so did they. I thought
on a frozen field. I don't know.
I heard that they practice inside as well.
I'm just asking.
All week as well. So
just asking. But yeah. Anyway, Justin, any final thoughts before we move on?
Oh no! For this little chart that you have here, you could take 5 to 10% off of everything that you have and just bring it over and put it on Mark Andrews.
Come on, bro.
That's what I feel.
I'm not gonna make my man Mark commit suicide.
You know the other thing is, can we say? And look, I wouldn't mind if you went out like this even yesterday. If it's it's first and or it's 2-point conversion, your season on the line. Why not give it to Derrick Henry? It's 2 yards. I mean, granted, how everything went yesterday.
The play call was perfect.
I think he can get 2 yards.
No, I would have maybe, like I say, nah, not for one play.
In all honesty, like what Mark Andrews did was he stifled Lamar's camel off the just another notch from Lamar Jackson. He literally took that. He took it away from him. He did. If he doesn't fumble, they not in position, and then even with that last play where he can redeem himself.
But let me say
if Mark Andrews catches that ball and Josh Allen goes down and they kick a field goal and win, you know what they'll say? Well, Lamar did his
whoever had the ball.
In that respect, I don't know what they're saying, but they still could be saying that because Lamar was down 8 with less than 2 minutes, and he went 88 yards. And then he had big plays on that last drive to Tyler Wallace, and then it was 25. Was it 25-yard pass to the leg of the touchdown? Because he made.
I'm not taking
enough. Lamar was on his path of greatness. That's really what he was doing.
I disagree.
Back to those
he still could have lost. They still could have lost. It's a minute and a half in the field goal.
They'll say you wouldn't have had the hole to dig out of it had you not got in the hole early.
Correct. It wouldn't have changed. I
think you score there. It does help the narrative a little bit better for those people who are going to be naysayers. That's look.
Wait.
I'm a Lamar supporter. We're not in that game with a double-digit deficit in the past seasons, right? In past seasons,
that's my point. You're down 2 scores.
We done.
You're down 2 scores, and Buffalo got the ball throughout the second half.
And their defense came out and shut them down.
Defense came out, 3 and out, and then you go get some points.
But you needed a touchdown on that first drive too. Yes, you did. You got a field goal. I can't remember exactly what happened. But we had to settle for 3, and it was disappointing. Again, and another thing
that was a long field goal too.
Yeah, tip your hat to Justin Tucker. We killed him earlier this season. He bounced back. He had a good last stretch of the season after the Philly game. I want to say.
Oh yeah, I remember that drive. That was That was the Derrick Henry gets 12 yards. Then all of a sudden it's Justice Hill -2.
Yes.
It's a
That's the
incomplete
one I
pass
was
to
thinking of.
Andrews. It's
That's
a
the
delay
one
of
I was
game,
thinking of.
and then it's a pass to Bateman.
That
and then all
was
of a sudden it's a
terrible.
40-yard field goal. Yeah.
That's the one I was conflating with the Bateman drive one.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry was clicking. He ran for 12 yards, and then all of a sudden, he chucked himself out the game too. If you go back and watch it, he put his hand up. I'm like, what happened, man? Did you tweak something? Did you get tired? So he'll come in. He goes lateral. That's why I say he ran sideways. He lost yards, and then it was all
because that was that was the drive they had. A pass to Andrews for a first down. Justice Hill ran for 12-13, and then Derrick Henry ran for 12-13.
Yeah,
and then he took himself out.
He was clicking.
Yeah.
But again, they put points on the board, so people forgot about it. But again, I just think,
look, everyone wasn't sure about that field goal at that time.
And he hit it. He hit it though.
So
again, I just think, look, tip your hat to Buffalo. They came out wanting to prove something, like Justin said, on defense, that they could stop the big fella. And everybody said, "Oh, he got Derrick Henry this year. It's gonna be different." You still needed another weapon, I think. And I'm not even going to say that because the offense, for the most part, outside of the turnovers, was moving the ball. They were moving the ball. They were moving the ball. I just want to know how more explosive could they have been if Zay was there? How more explosive could they have been? You know what I mean? Like if they had the full litany of weapons.
I want to see what actually comes up as an injury, because from what I heard, he was out 4 weeks anyway. He wasn't playing until the Super Bowl.
He tried.
I don't know how true it is. I mean,
other team guessing.
Even when you saw that video of him running, it was or the video of him running in practice,
over them damn
you can look and tell which leg was hurt. Just how high that knee was getting. I'm like, he ain't playing.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
In regards to his injury. So
we'll talk more Ravens. What's next? We got some
not too much more.
All that kind of stuff. Not today. I'm talking about in the coming weeks. But
I mean, we talk about the more than we talk about the Bucks.
They deserve an hour. We only have 4 games.
We're supposed to.
That's it.
More than them Bucks who got ran over. But
no, we did not get ran over. Don't be disrespectful.
But we'll talk about Buffalo when we preview the AFC Championship game. But let's move on to the next game. The Kansas City Chiefs defeated the Houston Texans by a score of 23-14 in that game. Travis Kelce was really the star of the show outside of Patrick Mahomes, making some miraculous plays here and there. It wasn't really a big offensive output by the Chiefs other than Kelce being wide open multiple times. Yeah. Houston was all over Mahomes. I think they sacked him, like 6 times or something like that? Or was it? No, Deshaun got sacked 8 times. So, I mean, not Deshaun. I called him Deshaun Lord. CJ got sacked like 8 times. But the Texans were in this game, man. They actually outgained the Chiefs, played pretty well. Justin, we'll start with you this time since we did a lot of the talking in the last segment. What's your thoughts on this ball game? And we'll take it beat by beat. What was your thoughts on first what you saw from this Chiefs offense?
I wasn't impressed. I expected them to be a lot better than what they were. I expected things to flow a little bit better. I expected the running game to be definitely way more better than much better than what it was. So shout out to Houston, Will Anderson and the boys. They really they came to play with guns blazing to corral that team and do some questionable penalties. It gave the Chiefs more opportunities for Patrick to make plays. And when Patrick has more opportunities to make plays, no matter what type of position that he's in, clearly he can be in a horizontal Superman flying position and he still can get a touchdown pass completed to Travis Kelce. And it feels like they tried their best to corral everyone else and then they forgot about Travis Kelce. Yes, Travis wasn't the best Travis all year, but this is a PTP. He's a primetime player, and this is a playoffs, and that's when he's supposed to step up. And unlike certain other individuals, he stepped his game up, had over 100 yards, touchdown. I can't think that he fumbled the ball either. So, he showed you what it is to be a pre-mid tight end in this league, although he had a subpar regular season. The wide receivers didn't do too much. They didn't help. They didn't help at all. So it was just Patrick, Travis, and questionable penalties. That was it for me.
Calvin, what was your thoughts on what you saw from the Chiefs?
The Chiefs prove once again they don't have to be at their best to win playoff games, especially on offense. And I think that's been the key for them the last couple of years, just in the playoffs. Even with the new weapons that they have, and Hopkins and Park Heights Brown and Worthy being their rookie as well. So I think they're just going to get better, especially if they're going to be at home. There were a lot of questionable calls, I think, that everyone has talked about over the last couple of days in regards to the helmet-to-helmet contact, the flopping of Mahomes going out of bounds, and it's starting to make them unlikable outside of Kansas City. Now, I'm a hater, so I hope they win three in a row because I don't want anyone else to win one if it's not Lamar. So I don't care at that point, but I do think this offense is getting better, and I don't know what it will take to beat them because they do enough to win. And the playoff Kansas City is not regular season Kansas City. I think Buffalo's going to find it out this week. I know we'll talk about that matchup a little bit later, but whatever they need to do, they can do just enough of that to win ball games. And they've done that consistently over the last 2 years. They have home field advantage. They have more weapons. And now you have a healthy offense, presumably going to the AFC Championship game. So they do just enough. And even when they were giving them all these yards against Houston, the game was never really in question because they were just giving them what they wanted. They were just giving them what they wanted, not essentially any really big plays. They were able to sack CJ Stroud 8 times. Even though they had 400 yards, they needed those yards just to make the game close in the end. So it's just Kansas City doing what Kansas City does, in my opinion.
What did y'all think about the play of CJ Stroud in this game? Like, overall, did you think the moment was too big for him? Did you think they just were outmatched physically? What was your thoughts? Let's start with you, Justin.
He just might not have his full weaponry, and I think that's probably what it was. They were moving the ball. They just got a lot of field goals, a missed field goal mixed in there. But they scored almost every quarter. You can't keep kicking field goals in the playoffs. You got to score. You have to score. You have to score. You have to score. And it is what it is.
I mean, similar to last year, in my opinion, where their offense stalled in the second half of the divisional round last year against Baltimore. So I think that's just what it is. And you can say it's because they were missing a couple of their weapons, but they weren't just able to get anything in that second half. They just had a safety, right? In the second half, that was it. That was it. Yeah. So they had 2 points, and those weren't scored by the offense. So their second half, whenever the adjustments were made at halftime by the Kansas City defense, Houston's offense did not react to it in the second half. And they got a ton of yards, but they just didn't translate those yards into points at any point, field goal or touchdown.
I think they scored a touchdown, missed the extra point. Then they kicked like 2 field goals or something like that. They might have kicked 3 field goals.
No, they missed one.
Yeah, they missed one. 2 field goals, and then they got the safety. That's how they got the 14. So yeah,
yes, they didn't score a touchdown. Correct. Yes.
Yeah, they scored a touchdown. They missed the extra point, and
no, they didn't. They did.
Yeah,
they did miss the extra point. That's why they got 6 in the third quarter.
So they were scoring, but they weren't putting it. In Spagnolia, that defense, he was tuning it up, man. He saw red because I thought Joe Mixon was actually pretty effective at times, but he couldn't sustain it, man. Again,
they got to a point they just started running. They started throwing the ball too.
The Chiefs were just dominant, and like I say, Diggs hasn't been there. You lose Tank Dell, so all you had was Collins. Give Brown. What's the guy Brown on the other side? I can't remember the other receiver. He wasn't bad either. He made some
Michi. It's not Michi.
Michi. Yeah. He used to play for the Jags or something like that. Yeah, he made some plays too. Anyway, let's move on to the real big game from Saturday night, and that was the Washington Commanders. They upset the number 1 overall seed in the NFC. The Detroit Lions go down at home, following up what happened last year when a lot of people thought they were rooting the miracle Lions, the good luck story coming into this season. I think, Calvin, you thought they might not lose a game this year.
They only lost 2.
This was supposed to be their season, but the injuries, man, the defensive injuries to this team, well documented how many players they've had on IR. But that performance they put against Minnesota last game of the season, people were inspired. Thinking Aaron Glenn had that defense smoking and ready. but they just weren't ready for this young man, and that's Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels was absolutely sensational on Saturday night, going up and down the field at will. That screen pass to Terry McLaurin when he took off down that left side, good God, I reckon, boy, that's a weapon. That's a number one receiver. And that, to me, is when you are a young player and you got Austin Eckler and Terry McLaurin, you got guys who proven to be big time players. That is such an asset, and many have said it. I'll agree. He's the best rookie quarterback in the history of the NFL, and I think it's not close at this point because of what he's doing in the playoffs. And also, you got to tip your hat to that Washington Commanders defense. This was not just about Jaden Daniels. That defense caused turnovers. That defense bowed his back. That defense put points on the board, and they played sensational. They stopped what people thought was the most vaunted offense in the league in the Detroit Lions, who got David Montgomery back, who had all the litany of receivers, the tight end, the running backs. They had everything. And Jared Goff laid an egg like he's been known to do. Again, are people killing Jared Goff this morning on national TV? I don't know. I don't watch. But were they killing him on Sunday? No, because the expectations aren't the same. Even though he had the most loaded offense in the NFL, they're not going to put those expectations on a guy like Jared Goff. But for the defense of the Commanders, they were all over this guy. I think he turned it over 3 or 4 times. And four times.
Five.
Was it 5 turnovers?
He fumbled, right?
He did fumble.
4 interceptions.
Yeah, 4 picks. Good God, I reckon. Give the Commanders defense credit, but Jaden Daniels handled his business. Shout out to him. Calvin, what's your thoughts on this game?
You know, one thing was interesting. I looked at this, and I looked at the summary of this game. Their last 7 possessions, they scored on 4 of them. The other 3 ended in an interception. And one of those interceptions for a touchdown.
The Lions?
The Lions, yes. That's the summary of the ball game. The interception he throws in the first half that could have tied the ball game, I believe. And then you had the one late in the ball game as well. It was a combination of just bad play. The defense stood up when needed. And that was and they couldn't stop Jaden Daniels on offense. You know, you talk about the defensive players that were out. Whenever they threw those interceptions, if it wasn't returned for a touchdown, it was a 34-yard run back, and they put them in position for that offense. Only have to go 40 yards for a touchdown. They're already in scoring position. You can't do that regularly to a team with an adequate offense, and we're talking about a team with a good offense. So, I mean, it just too many turnovers, and that defense was put in a really bad position. And then they even lost a cornerback on Saturday night. So you're down one additional cornerback as well. So too many turnovers, and just that defense was able to stop anything at any time, but they weren't put in a good position. So can you really blame the defense if you're put in a position where they're in scoring position when they get the ball and you're trying to stop them from getting a touchdown when they only need 30 yards or 40 yards?
It's the offense. So, the offense choked it. But no, again, I think 2 things can be true. That Detroit defense got shredded too. They got shredded too.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels went to work. But again, I give all the accolades to that Washington defense for what they did to that Lions offense, because that was the strength of their team and what was supposed to overcome the deficiencies on defense. And it just wasn't. Justin, your thoughts?
JD5. We got JD5, and next up was the Lions. I didn't expect. I'm gonna be 100% honest. When we did this show a week ago, I was like, nah, it's just they got too many weapons. Lions got 2 weapons. As I kept going back and forth, by the time I left the shop on Saturday or whenever right before the game or whatever, I was like, yeah, they gonna F around and win this game. I didn't put it on wax, so I'm not taking credit. It's just my thought process. It's just like I when I saw Kansas City and how they wasn't on point, I was like, Lions might be similar. It seemed like that was the case. It was Jared Goff had 3 interceptions. The 4th interception came on that trick play they did when Jameson Williams threw an interception, which was
that's why I thought he had 3.
A bad play. But that's how they was reaching for stuff, and it just wasn't wasn't working. It was just the Washington was too sound defensively. Jared Goff went Jared Goff. Like I said, similar to you, Larry, I haven't watched any, none of the media shows or anything like that. But just after seeing what Sam Donald did, some of these quarterbacks, I said, one of my guys that's a client of my coworkers. I told him, I was like, yo, y'all gonna mess around and lose because of Jared Goff. And I, I told him that, and lo and behold, he went Jared Goff. Some players just can't perform well in certain situations. It's just who they are. Jared Goff never really been one of those dudes that do that to perform and make others better in playoff type situations. I still think Todd Gurley was the reason why they went when he went before. When he was the Rams, more so than him. He's just not that guy, and they're stuck with him. They're not getting rid of him.
No.
But this is the situation they're in. So luckily, Vikings can move on for Sam Donald. But this is where we're at. Some guys aren't primetime players. Some guys can't perform when you need them to perform the best. This is playoff football, mistake-free football. It's what wins you games. I don't think Jayden Daniel had a mistake. They had 0 turnovers. 0 turnovers again. Like that's the difference here. So I'm not going to beat that into the horse. I'm not going to beat that into the ground. It is what it is. It's just this young kid, this JD5 character, man. He's different, man. I'll say that.
Yeah, I think a lot of this is the league wasn't ready for him, and he's overproducing. Even now that they know what to do, he still defies it. I mean, he's poised. He plays poised. That's the word.
Can we give Cliff Kingsbury some credit as well?
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay. But I want to also say it's a combination of putting your guys in the correct position to succeed.
Don't tell me like 25%. 25%. Because
don't tell me just swap it. Don't tell me just him being there because you swap 2 and 1 and Caleb.
No, I'm not saying that either. So it's okay. There's a situation where the coach can't tell you how to perform in the fourth quarter.
But there's familiarity.
But I think coaching Kyler Murray did prepare him for this, though. I think coaching Kyler Murray prepared him to unlock the true skill set that Daniels has because he's a bigger, stronger, faster Kyler Murray. Not faster. Kyler Murray fast. But he's a better combination. And he's a prototypic size. Kyler Murray was undersized. I think he can do more with Daniels and bring out some of his natural abilities. He's done a good job designing a game plan that's
we can't
curtailed towards what he does great. I ain't taking nothing away from him, but you do. You said give him some credit. Give him some credit. I'll give him credit. Yeah. Coaching always matters. Coaching always matters. I think Lamar wouldn't have been as great as he was without that early Greg Roman system. Again, the league caught up to it, and we had to evolve it. But I think the good thing about this system he's running, I think it's the system. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you need to evolve that system. That's a pro-style offense they're running over there. He just allows him to be an athlete in the midst of it. The guy was running all over the field on Saturday. He was still unlocked his athleticism. It's not carries. I mean, they never not ran the ball. And I think that can be the issue sometimes when you have an athlete like a Jayden Daniels, like a Lamar Jackson, like a Jalen Hurts. You know you can do it, but you want to prove, they can do this other thing too. No, let them be them. You know what I mean? And I think that's the good thing about him being a rookie. He's still learning that. You know what I mean? So right now, I think they're using whatever they can will allow him to play maximum ability to get the best out of him. And then later they'll try to create him into what they want to. But right now, great job, man. That's a big time win, man. That's a huge win. On the road in Detroit, and those poor fans, man. Those poor Detroit fans, those people, you know how high those tickets were going for? Man, those people paid a lot of money for that loss. They paid a lot of money. And then after the game, to see Dan Campbell up there, tears in his eyes, emotional. Look, I've been behind Dan Campbell all the way.
Pause.
But man up. Man up. Man up. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. I am.
Yeah.
To me,
all
that was
all that
over the
gusto
top.
went out the window for some
That
tears.
was over the top. That was ridiculous. You lost. Take it like a man. Stand up at the podium. Answer the questions. Don't be, I'm sorry. Those guys play their heart out. You think anybody out there, any of them games that lost on this weekend, they didn't play their heart out? You know who else played their heart out? The Washington Commanders. And they put their foot in your ass. Like, don't give me this. Oh, well, we played our heart out. Y'all got blown out. Like, it wasn't like it was a game down to a play at the end. The final score was 45-31. The defense gave up so many plays. Like, stop it. That was not worthy of tears. You had enough time to think about you getting your ass whipped for you to get up at that podium to be like, I'm composed now. It's not like it was
you know what it is. I'm going to tell you what it is. They fully probably prepared for Minnesota.
Well, you saw they shook hands. He said, I'll see you in 2 weeks.
He fully prepared. They say, don't worry. Someone like him, he probably said, hey, man, that's what we're going to do. Go ahead and get the game plan started.
Yeah, he got that gusto. Yeah, go ahead, Calvin.
But it wouldn't have mattered. If Minnesota won, they still would have played Washington.
Yeah, whatever. Maybe NFC championship.
It would have worked out. Either way, they wasn't ready for him. They wasn't ready for
Washington. Just think this guy, I
best
love
quarterback in NFC?
And it's a gift and a curse. Who?
Yes.
JD. Best quarterback remaining in NFC last week.
Well, we're gonna do confidence picks in a minute. Let's hold off on that. We'll hold off on that. But no, I think the gusto that he presents it's a double-edged sword, man. When things don't work out for you, you gotta stand up there and take it like a man. You know who had the reason to go cry at the game? You know who should have been out there weeping, sobbing? John Harbaugh. Come on. Game came down to a 2-point conversion where you start tight end, drop the ball in the corner of the end zone. He should be crying. He should be weeping. Lamar was up there cussing, going off, pissed off. You know what I mean? Like, if y'all want to be emotional.
No, that was good to see. I actually like that.
And Lamar ate it. He said, it's on me. Don't blame Mark Andrews. Look, if they had a right to be emotional.
Wait, but Andrews still got to show at the press conference. Still got to talk about it, right?
Andrews got to talk. Okay. Andrews got to get up there. Okay. He might have been on a bridge somewhere for all we know.
I know. I ain't heard nothing. They said they ain't seen him today when he was killing their Rockets.
Man. So. Hey, man, I'm telling you, that shit means something. He might be in seclusion for a few months. But Dan Campbell, y'all got whooped. It wasn't close. What are you crying about? Like, stop. Anyway, so then more news came today. Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears. For the Detroit Lions, is now the new head coach for the Chicago Bears. So they losing that offensive coordinators. What do you think?
That's one of the jobs Monk can interview for. So take that what you want, how you want it as well. But
you think Monken would leave?
It's one of the jobs he interviewed for. That's all I'm saying.
But I think this is good for Caleb. I think this is a good signing. They need an offensive-minded coach who's creative. He's in the division. He knows the other opponents. He knows how to game plan for them already. I think this is a hell of a pickup for the Chicago Bears. Probably their best signing in a long time. What's your thoughts, Justin?
That division thing is gets the double check. I think that's the most important thing. The fact that it's the individual, he knows him, and just that's
somebody over there having fun. You see the slow eye roll or eye cut, like, don't you see me over here? Yeah, we get it. Any final thoughts from it on you, Calvin?
No, I mean, like you said, he got an offensive-minded head coach in the division. So, and I think that's one thing that hurts Detroit as well. They knew that they were not going to retain one of, if not both, their coordinators next year. They're lucky they had them going into this year. So they knew this was probably their last stand. I mean, is it fair to say that their Super Bowl window may be closed?
After the way that defense played for Detroit the last month, Aaron Glenn might not be getting nobody's coaching job.
He going to New Orleans. He going to New Orleans. I think that's wildly known.
But they
better have hella talent.
They had a lot of injuries.
All right, so that it showed you if he ain't got star players, Aiden Hutchinson and all these other guys, my defense scheme ain't shit. That's what that showed me. So I don't know if I'm hiring him. That's just me personally. So anyway, we'll see. Good luck, Aaron Glenn. Anyway, next game, the final game of the weekend, took place on Sunday afternoon, and it was snowy, man. That game was, woo, man, what a sight to see. Saquon Barkley and the Philadelphia Eagles were able to pull out a victory at home over the Rams. The Rams, actually, for a West Coast team going east, they played tough, man.
It was closer than it should have been.
They played tough, man. You got to give Matt Stafford credit. And I know you don't really give people credit when they lose and they're supposed to be, playoff contention teams. And we beat up quarterbacks all the time. But I didn't think he played bad at all. What you think, Cal?
I agree. When they were down 28-15 late, and they scored over to a 3-0, got the ball back, and they were driving to potentially to win that ball game. They don't need an extra point.
Yeah.
Look, I said it last week. At what point do we start worrying about Jalen Hurts? Because if it wasn't Saquon Barkley, this offense did nothing. And I think if you got to put up points, and Washington comes in, they beat them 6 weeks ago, and they're familiar with them. I just don't know. I mean, at what point do you worry about Jalen Hurts? I'm not. He hasn't. He didn't play a game prior to the last 2-3 weeks of the season, but you got to worry about, in my opinion. Like, can you trust if you're down and you need a field goal or you need points? Do you trust Jalen Hurts to get those points? At this point, I mean, what has he shown you that he can do that? If it's not for Saquon, they don't move the ball on offense right now. Saquon is everything on offense, and as great as he's running the ball, he's not opening up the passing game. And I think that says a lot.
Well, I will say that I think that they played a very tough Rams defense. That Rams defense has proven to be very good over the last almost 2 months of the season. They play everybody tough, and I thought in those conditions, they called a very conservative game plan. Philly did. I thought the game plan was to run the ball control. Look, Jalen Hurts had a 40-yard touchdown run early in that game. Now, again, I think he got dinged up later, which hampered his mobility. But he did prove that he could go left and right. He threw one out left to a good strike to Devontae. He hit the tight end on a hell of a pass. I thought that was impressive. One pass got called back by a penalty, but I thought it was a very good throw. But then they called the offensive lineman got down the field too early on one play. I didn't think he was terrible. He just didn't put up no yards, and because I thought a lot of that had to do with the conditions. And Saquon, God damn, what more can you say? But do you think next week at home in Philly, if the conditions are regular, I'm not saying it's going to snow again or nothing like that, do you think he'll play that bad like he did against that Rams defense? I think that Rams defense is better than Washington's defense. Not Saturday, not with Ben withstanding, because I haven't seen him play that good all year. That was sensational. I think that had more to do with Detroit than anything. But I think Jalen can play better than that. What you think, Justin?
I honestly thought it was a weather thing too. I honestly thought that they wanted to be a bit more conservative, although the other guy was. Let's talk about that. I maybe on the Rams side, they said I trust Matt Stafford throwing in any condition versus Philadelphia saying I don't want you to throw in this condition. Because Stafford still gave you over 300 yards.
He did.
But Stafford does have one of those kind of arms. My man been a gunslinger dead in since birth. So
bullet through you know what I mean? Yeah.
So they fully trust his arm in any condition. And maybe Philadelphia doesn't trust Jalen, but that's the extra part. Jalen, you're a dual threat. You don't necessarily need to throw the ball like that in order for us to win it. You can use your legs, and then we have our 2,000-yard runner, and we can still win this game convincingly. Like, it wasn't convincingly, but they probably went to the game plan. They probably went to the game plan thinking it was convincing. Like, we can. They can't beat us rushing the ball, especially in these conditions.
No turnovers.
We'll wait. Yeah. We'll wait, especially like I said, when you rush the ball, more likely than not, you won't have turnovers. And then the other team, trust me, they will have turnovers, and that's what happened. That's how it played out. The Rams had 2 fumble losses. Philadelphia had mistake-free football. They kind of gave it a little. They made it close to the end only because they just didn't convert as much as you will want them to. But I think after that touchdown run from Saquon, I think they packed it in, saying it's over. The last one. The last
The
one.
last one. But no, I want to make a comparison. I want to make a comparison because, again, I think a lot of people have been very critical of the Philadelphia Eagles offense over the last month or two when they have a 2,000-yard runner, a guy who was going to go to break the all-time record, and they were pretty successful over that time span, winning ball games. Now, we give Kansas City credit for pulling games out, not worrying about what the stats are, just winning, baby. You know what I mean? We give them credit for that. But the Eagles came into this season with a concerted effort. We went out and got Saquon Barkley to win games in January, to win games on the road. On the ground, running the football. We got Jalen Hurts, who's a dual threat quarterback. We got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. We got all these luxury weapons, but at the end of the day, we're going to be a gritty, grimy running team, and they win games. So how can we look at that, and then we look at Buffalo and give them credit for doing basically the same thing? And Josh Allen didn't turn the football over. He threw for what, 130 yards, Calvin? 127 yards.
Yeah.
Ball control offense. They win the game at home in the snow. What is the difference? What is the difference? No difference at all.
Is someone saying there's a difference?
No, I just think that the perception I heard after this game, I heard it. A lot of Jalen need to do more. Can you? And Calvin even asked it. Can you win with Jalen throw for 40 yards? Well, the conditions kind of dictated a lot of how that game played out, and he was clean.
The only rebuttal I have is that early in the ball game, the conditions were not bad until after halftime, and they still did not put the ball in Jalen Hurts' hands. That's all I'm saying. Through the end, that's all I'm saying. It was close to ball game. They didn't pull away till late, so they were playing in the confines of the offense. That's fine, but is there a reason that they weren't comfortable doing that? Is my point. Because if you need to score points, are you comfortable with putting the ball in Jalen Hurts' hands? It hasn't come to that yet, but Washington offense is good. I think Kansas City, we know what they could do on offense, and Buffalo, we know what they could do on offense. So you can make the argument that he's the worst quarterback remaining.
How can you have
of the four?
Even if you look at that last Washington game, they were beating Washington handily, weren't they? Until Jalen Hurts went down, and then it became a game. Don't you recall?
He went down early.
They were winning like 21.
I didn't think it was that much.
They were scoring while he was on the field.
We might have to look up that box score. I think it was like they were up. They were up. That game became a game once Kenny Pickett came in the game or whatever like that.
I mean, they still had a chance to win late, and it was a drop pass by Devontae Smith.
Agreed. So, I'm not saying they didn't. I'm just saying you're underestimating Jalen Hurts. And I give the Rams defense a lot of credit as well. I think it's look, the Rams have been beating a lot of good teams here lately and hanging tough. Who they beat last week to get to this?
When he got hurt, he was 1 of 4. So it was one of the first 2 possessions.
Okay. What was the score early? They was up big. And then
14-7?
When he got hurt?
I can't see when he got hurt. I could just see when Kenny Pickett came in. Which drive he came in. That's all I can see.
But regardless, they were winning, damn it. And I think
they scored a touchdown after Kenny Pickett came in. And that he scored a second touchdown.
Jalen or?
No, Kenny Pickett.
So it was 7-7 when he left?
No, it was 7-0. He gets hurt the second drive. Kenny Pickett comes in, throws a touchdown pass, and makes it 14-0.
So you're saying they should take Jalen out and put Kenny Pickett in?
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, I didn't
say that. I just said he's the worst quarterback in 4 remaining. That's what I said.
Let me stop. Get off damn Fitz. Our audience deserves to, the best of the best when we talk about these things. I forgot for 1 second that I'm talking to a Cowboy fan. And clearly, when we're talking about the Eagles, you know what I mean? There's going to be a hint of hater in there. So, I forgot. I'm sorry. I apologize. You just don't want Jalen to go back to another Super Bowl before.
I don't care. I don't want him to win.
I'm about to say, either way, the NFC East is being represented.
But look, I said I don't want anyone.
This is bad.
I have said on multiple occasions, I do not want anyone younger than Lamar to win one before him. So that means I just want Mahomes to win.
Honestly, if Jalen goes back to his second Super Bowl and wins it, is anybody in the world going to think Jalen is better than Lamar Jackson? No.
Yes.
Who?
Yes.
Absolutely
Somebody
not.
was. Yes.
Everybody looks at him play.
I mean,
they know.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion.
You can be accomplished and not be better.
You're going to have a 3-time MVP, arguably, versus the guy that went to the Super Bowl twice, which is good. We're not taking anything away from him.
Saquon will get the credit.
I'll take it. I was going to say, because Saquon will get to in finals Super Bowl MVP.
He'll get MVP.
So I'll take that back.
It's just the way they play. They got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Goddard, Saquon Barkley. That team is stacked. The best GM in all the sports, in all of football. I mean,
he won't get any credit. Come on. Shout out to Jalen Carter, who won that game for him on Sunday.
That defense is loaded. Like the Eagles, legitimately, I picked them to go to the Super Bowl before the season started. They should be in this spot. This is not a shock. If they lose to the Commanders,
they shouldn't.
Oh shit,
they should.
Yeah, there should be some issues. Yeah, there will be some issues. They might even fire Sirianni at that point. You can't lose with this team. I'm sorry, you can't. They are loaded, man, at all levels: secondary, linebackers, D-line, receiver, running back, offensive line, the best in the league. Like, what do you want? Like, you put Lamar on that team, Calvin. What you doing? Put Lamar on that Eagles team right now. They might not lose a game.
They 17-0. They 17-0.
Come on, man. Stop.
The only thing you make an argument is the tight end position will be upgraded. I don't even know who the tight end is. Is it still Goddard?
Yeah, it's Goddard. Yeah.
He'd be all pro. That's the only thing I had.
Come on, man. Stop it. All right, but anyway, credit to Matt Stafford. He fought hard, but Saquon was the story of this game. Them long runs, fantastic. But let's move on. Conference championship games for next week. Let's preview them. Are the 4 teams that are remaining? Tell me right now. Let's put them in order. Which quarterbacks, and we alluded to this earlier, do you have the most confidence in? It's I want to see this. This might shock some people. We'll start at number 4. Who's number 4 on your list? Calvin, you kind of alluded to it.
Jalen Hurts.
Go ahead.
It ain't easy. It shouldn't be that difficult of a decision, in my opinion.
You have the 4th most confidence in Jalen Hurts.
Yes.
Who's been to a Super Bowl.
Yes.
Was probably the best player on the field in that Super Bowl, despite the loss.
Didn't get it done. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Justin, your thoughts?
I agree.
You agree too? That's why you.
Mine is a little bit more worried on that injury. He did get hurt. He didn't sound confident.
He ain't been right in the
post. No, you're a hater. That's the difference.
You're a hater.
No. I said we haven't seen it from since he came back. That's what I said.
Right. You're talking about that. I'm not talking about the concussion injury that he had. I'm talking about the leg injury, which he didn't sound confident in the post game when he was talking with Saquon after the game. That was
fresh.
I was like,
he injured it last week, right?
Shaky.
Mm-hmm.
No,
it was in this game.
It was in this game
last week. Okay,
I didn't know he got hurt.
It was this game.
Yeah. All right. Oh man, this sucks, man. Yeah, I'm going with.
What is it?
I'm going with Jalen Hurts too.
Okay.
Yeah, right. You know, it is what it is. Look, and it's no fault of his own. It's just I think circumstances. You got Saquon, so I got more confidence in your team overall. I picked y'all winning the Super Bowl at this point since the Ravens are out. Yeah. But who's number 3? I'm gonna go.
Man,
I'm gonna go with JD5. Yeah. I thought about it. I really did. I really thought about it.
I thought about it too.
I thought about it. Justin, who you got?
JD5.
Okay. Yeah. I got.
So we all got the same thing. And then Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought about it long and hard. I thought about it. Because he's playing Philadelphia's defense. That's the only thing that's making me kind of.
Wait. What order do you have Josh and Patrick?
I got Josh 2 and Patrick Mahomes number 1. I mean, what you got, Justin?
Make the argument.
I think Josh is
make the argument.
Better. I think he's going to play better. I think
make the argument.
You have the most confidence in Josh Allen.
Make the
Josh
argument.
Allen for this
upcoming
game.
Well, let's pick the games right now. Let's pick
make the. I want to hear the argument. Just why.
Justin, pick who's going to win between the Chiefs and the Bills. Go.
I said the Chiefs all year, and I think Buffalo's going to take them. I think Buffalo's going to take them. What I've seen against them. First and foremost, they stayed healthy. I was looking at that. Chiefs didn't look as impressive as I would like them to look against the Texans. I know they had their little time off and things like that, but I still wanted more input from everyone else involved other than Travis. I don't think Buffalo's going to let Travis Kelce beat them by themselves. So that means the other receivers are going to have to step up, in which they can, but I doubt it. I like Josh Allen for some reason. I think he's going to carry that momentum and go into the Super Bowl. I think this is the year that it happens. Y'all know I was with Kansas City all year. Patrick Mahomes was that dude. It's just I think this is the season in which Josh. I think this is the season he does it, man. He gets that monkey off his back for the AFC. That's my reasoning. This ain't CJ.
I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes until I see it with my own two eyes.
I'm not putting no money up.
They got home field advantage. I think they have the better offense. I think they have the better defense.
At times.
Okay, same predicament. Like, who are you taking? If you're comparing the two offenses, who are you taking on Buffalo's offense over Kansas City's offense, even including the quarterback? You can't name me a single position. Now, if we want to get into the depths of the offensive line, maybe somewhere there, but I'm taking Hopkins and Worthy and Park Heights Brown over Keon Coleman and Amari Cooper, who had one target on Sunday.
I don't care about none of them.
I'm taking Mahomes. I'm taking Mahomes. So I'm taking Mahomes over Josh.
Whoever's open, Josh will find. And if he doesn't, he will run.
But this is okay. So
if he doesn't run, James Cook will go off.
Can Josh Allen throw for 127 again and win?
It depends on the flow of the game. Depends on the flow.
I see no circumstance.
If you would have said,
can Josh? It could be 3 turnovers. I don't care.
If you would have said that same thing versus the Ravens, can Josh throw for 127 and beat the Ravens? I said hell no. No way.
I would say yes.
No way.
I would say yes.
I'm saying I would have said no. Okay. If you just asked me that question, there's no way that they
not against our run defense.
There's still turnovers and penalties which have plagued the Ravens all year long. So if you told me they got up and they just ran the ball, that's different. But yeah, I'm taking Kansas City over Buffalo. There's nothing we've seen Kansas City beat Buffalo in high scoring games. We've seen them beat them in
You're right.
The lower score games.
Right.
I don't think they're Buffalo's defense, especially they're missing Milano as well again, who missed the last series or so against Baltimore. I don't think this Buffalo defense can stop Kansas City, and likewise, I don't think Buffalo's offense can score enough if need be. Now, the game that they won in regular season, the Ravens beat the Buffalo Bills early in the season. We threw that out the window. That game was at home, and that game was in the snow, and they still needed a late Josh Allen 30-yard run to win that ball game. It doesn't come down to
a lot of demons.
Baltimore beat Buffalo. That didn't exercise any demons. It doesn't matter.
He ain't had no demons to exercise.
This is the playoffs. It doesn't matter. And you're not going to tell me that there won't be questionable calls that go Kansas City's way as well, and that will add to it.
Yeah, I think the thing you described about Buffalo, the problem is I don't think that Patrick Mahomes makes those mistakes. I don't think Patrick Mahomes is the player that allows certain. He's been there before. Like, I love Lamar, but we see him. Everything has to work for us to win. Everything. But Mahomes, things can go wrong. Things don't work out some kind of way, somehow, some way. The defense will make a play. The special teams will make a play. Also, the difference is the game is in Arrowhead. Josh has to go to Arrowhead and play his best game. And I just don't think they have those, like you say, primetime players, PTP. They don't have those guys that go on the road and play bigger than themselves. If this game was in Buffalo, I agree with you. I would pick the Bills. I really would. I think that it's something about that home field advantage that is real. And we saw Josh plays better at home. Some of his biggest wins were at home. But on the road, this ain't Detroit. You know what I mean? We just saw what happened to Detroit. That defense was banged up. Josh played that banged up defense. Remember, they played a Rams team, and it was a shootout, and the Rams beat them. Again, on the road. His losses that we remember were on the road.
Defense gave up a ton of points too.
Yes, I just think Kansas City just does too much right when it's time to be right.
That's understood. You're right.
It's just
had you asked me yesterday, I probably would have been saying that.
So that Ravens win convinced you that hard. I didn't see that. To me, honestly, the Ravens beat themselves. I hate saying
that. In your position, I can see that. What I saw, that's why I led by saying, I saw a different kind of Buffalo team. They were game ready. And I'm not saying the Ravens weren't. I'm just saying it looked different. They looked more inspired than I see them in previous games and previous seasons. They just look like they're ready. And it's just a certain look. It's a certain feel of the game.
If that game was in Baltimore, the Ravens win that game. I really believe that. I really believe that. But because this game is in Kansas City,
it was similar conditions.
Nah, that wasn't that damn cold here yesterday.
Actually, I do think
warm.
I do think the field would have been better conditioned.
Hell yeah, we got heated turf.
Yeah, and that wasn't the case about it. So I do think that
whole different thing. You know what I mean?
All
anyway,
right.
In the NFC, who y'all got?
Mm-hmm.
Calvin, start with you.
I got Philly.
Explain this to us.
I don't look. This Philly defense is for real, and I think Washington defense is going to give up a ton of points. But in the end, Saquon, I think, is going to make a difference. Him being able to control the clock, get whatever he wants on the ground, and then that Philly, like I said, the Philly defense, that defensive line has played well their first two games. There will be a time where Jalen Hurts does enough to win. We still have questions because of what Saquon does and what he does with that offense and the offensive line, but there will be enough to win that ball game. I got Philly.
Justin, who you got?
Oh, man.
You know you want to do it. Go on and do it. You might as well take both dogs.
You want to make the playoffs early in the year? Go ahead.
Eventually, this fairy tale ride, this
it's a fairy tale because they beat the Bucks. That's like a day.
No, I'm not saying that. That's see, you're doing too much. See, what I'm saying is a rookie shouldn't be this good. It doesn't happen in football like that. It just doesn't happen, right? So it has to end sometime. He's not going to win a Super Bowl. Like, he can't win a Super Bowl, right? It's just I can't put my mind on that. So it has to stop somewhere, and Philadelphia should be where it stops. Saquon Barkley is still that good. This is the game that maybe AJ might step out of nowhere and have a big plays. I'll stay with Philadelphia.
Okay, all right. Okay, I thought you might go out on that limb. Okay, I'll give you credit. Yeah, I picked Philly before the year to go to the Super Bowl. I was hoping they would play the Ravens for the All-Bird Bowl. Initially I picked the Dolphins, I'm gonna be honest, but you saw how that went. So mid-season, I went with the Ravens. Should have just said shut up my mouth, but Philly was my Super Bowl winner the whole time. I'm sticking with them. I just think all three facets of the game: offense, defense, special teams, defensive line, offensive line, especially the run game. Saquon will bust a run or two, and I think this will be good. Good battle. JD5 is very talented. They know each other well. Division opponents always give you for a good game. That plays a part. Go ahead.
I said I was about to just say I think that's also one of the main reasons why, because they're not scared of Jaden Dane. They've seen him twice.
Yeah.
They already have it. Other teams, you have to game plan for it. Just like when teams play Lamar Jackson, like
first time,
you can't play Lamar Jackson one or two times and think that you're going to actually be significantly better against him. So it's that too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going with Philly. Should be fun though. And we'll monitor what the injury statuses of Jalen Hurts, but I really think this is a Saquon game, like
Yeah.
many games we've seen. All right, let's move on to the NBA before we get out of here. A lot of news around the association. Voting opened up for the All-Star game coming up, which will be held in February, coming up very shortly. But a lot of storylines happening around the league. Calvin, anything been happening around the NBA that you like to kick off with tonight that we haven't talked about here recently that you would like to bring light to? What's happening?
I'm gonna keep talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder, who dismantled of Cleveland a week ago. Last time we had our show, and they're the best team in the league, in my opinion. And they still don't have their final piece of their starting lineup in Chet Holmgren. You know, they can only get better. I think they're led by who is the MVP favorite and will win MVP. Should have won last year in SGA. And also, I also say, if you don't watch the NBA, you won't know who's second in the West. The Houston Rockets are second in the West. I think that's key as well. They're a young upstart team, and this is also a team that was in the Jimmy Butler sweepstakes but said, no, never mind, because we're already good enough. And I think that's going to be key as well. Not one Jimmy Butler, but look in the all-powerful West. Look who's 1 and 2, Oklahoma City and Houston, two teams that we haven't seen up there in about 10 years.
Yeah, that's true. I like Memphis. Memphis been coming on strong here lately. Keep an eye on those Grizzlies. They surging, job playing inspired basketball. Been fun to watch here lately. Justin, what you been keeping your eye on that you like to highlight tonight?
You know, I'm not gonna lie. This little nagging thing of Trey Young, seems to pop his ugly head during, big games. Not every regular season
Against
game,
New
but
York.
big games.
Yeah,
And
hot man. They beat
and
Boston.
we played them. We played them today. We got the dub. So it wasn't even close really. It was within 10 points, but the game was out of sight, out of hand. So it was just good. Not to lose on Martin Luther King Day. That was just good because that is a big day for for basketball. But no, it's just just looking at the Eastern Conference, seeing how it shaped itself out. Seeing teams like Miami and Detroit start to creep up in the standings, especially Detroit. If like you said, those that's not watching basketball, Detroit over the last probably 15 to 20 games has been definitely have a high winning percentage in that time span. They're playing great basketball right now. So it's just good to see that Detroit is finally getting over that hump. But the East is, I mean, once you get past right where we at, three on down is very close, very tight. And it's probably gonna be like that throughout the entire rest of the way. So it's just interesting to see how that pans out.
Yeah. Also like to see Jamal Murray getting back healthy. Denver coming into their own, man. I know I spoke on it last week with Russ and the little thing they got going on. Keep an eye on them Nuggets. They right there. I know OKC's far and away best record wise right now in the West, but get some teams playing some good ball. They all bunched up around same loss area. But Grizzlies, Denver, been watching them pretty closely. Milwaukee. Giannis been on a tear. Named Eastern Conference Player of the Week last week. 4-0, averaged 32 points a game, 12.5 rebounds, 6.5 assists. In the West, Jalen Green for the Rockets, 32.5 points, 6% from the field. Shout out to him. Again, great play by both players. So Calvin, right now, you say you got Shea as your MVP favorite right now.
Yep.
Okay, Justin, who you got right now if you had to name one?
It'll go to my narrative that I was talking about last year. They're going to give it to the second place winner every year moving forward. So whoever was in second place, they're going to give it to him the next year. This is the year for Shea. Shea's my front line.
So it's the makeup award every year now.
That's what it looked like.
Gotcha.
that's what it looked like.
Well, next week we're going to start doing some real deep dives into the NBA getting you ready for, post football.
We ain't even got to talk about football next week. We got 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's it. So next week you'll get your full dose of the NBA. So we'll let you get prepared. And the gentlemen will be back to giving all our takes and our slides. And hey, we want to talk about this. Let's highlight this team. And we'll do that next week. So be prepared for that. Get more NBA coverage here and get off the damn fence. But before we get out of here, man, Lord, have y'all been paying attention at all to this national title game that's been happening tonight?
Look, beat down.
Yeah, look, Notre Dame had a chance to close the gap. It was like 28-15. They were down there, first and goal. If they'd have scored there, they'd have made it interesting and try to make it, a 7-point game. But they had to settle for a field goal, and it got blocked. So it's a smoking. It's a beatdown. Ohio State far and away was voted number 1 in the AP poll preseason. A lot of people thought because of the transfer portal, because of all the scholarships they had, that they should be the best team. And it's just proven out to be. Right now, they lead 31-15, just over 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Calvin, Ohio State wins the national title game. Ryan Day walks away as champion. What does this mean for college football?
I think it means that the playoff bracket works to an extent, because these were the 7th and 8th seed, 5th and 6th seed, something like that. So I think that means that it works to an extent. I think it also means if you got $20 million in NIL money, you can buy a national championship as Ohio did. Yep. I got no problem with that either. Pay the kids. I ain't got no problem with that either.
Pay to play.
I think it also means that was it last year Michigan won, and then this year Ohio State won. So the Big Ten is kind of running things now in the college football scene. But it'll be interesting because next we have a whole bunch of transfers. We've already seen some movement as well. Former Georgia quarterback going to Miami, and Carson Beck, I think is his name.
Yeah, Carson
Beck. Last name is Beck. Yeah, so look, if you got the money, and this is why it'll be interesting to see what happens in Utah, because BYU and the Utah Jazz owners, they are buying players. They are putting out their money left and right. They
buying players.
I ain't mean to say it like that. They're putting out money left and right. They got the number 1 college recruitment basketball coming to BYU. When was the last time you heard that being said? So if you got the money.
Yeah, you pay to play, baby. I mean, I ain't hating. You know what I mean? I wanted Notre Dame to win tonight. I really did.
Because of the coach? I forgot his name.
Black man. I'm a root for the brother. I don't like that he's coaching at Notre Dame of all places. But hey, it is what it is. But I wanted James Franklin to win for Penn State. You know what I mean? If I was going to really root for the brother, that was the real brother. But no, I think his name is Marcus. Marcus. Oh man, what is his name? Look it up for me. Freeman. Marcus Freeman. Yeah, Marcus Freeman. I was pulling for him just for that. But Ohio State was clearly the better team. Ryan Clark's son also plays on that Notre Dame team. So looking at them, they had a little bit more notoriety. But I've never been a huge fan of Notre Dame. I think their schedule has always been tricky for me because they're not in a conference. So they kind of just handpick whatever opponents they want. And it's always tricky how I know they went into the ACC, quote unquote, to try to, but I feel like they always have some type of advantage with the schedule they get to play. So in the end, big step up in competition, a big win they had last week, but they just weren't ready for this game. And Ohio State was just more talented, and you got to give Coach Day credit. He got this team ready to play. Justin, your thoughts on Ohio State, Notre Dame, and what this means for college football with the playoff system, Ohio State representing them with the first national title in this new system?
Nick Saban is rolling over in his grave right now.
Big Ten domination. Football grave.
Exactly. Look, Ryan Day, he went from about to be fired to winning a championship. Because don't forget, he lost to Michigan, and that's the number one thing you have to do. You have to beat Michigan, and he failed. Had it at home, and you had a way better team. And he said, "Don't worry about it, guys. We'll get them next year, but take this trophy with you." And I'm quite sure that they care about that trophy more than they care about that Michigan.
I don't
loss
know, man. It's some Michigan fans who care more.
Now,
Ohio State fans care about beating Michigan more than a national title. But nah,
you know what? You probably right. You know, to each his own. But for the majority, they're gonna host that trophy. And so shout out to Rondé on that.
Yeah, good stuff for him. Again, college football serious business is big business too, and people need to realize that this is a money business now. This ain't about no kids. This ain't about no scholarship money. These guys getting paid. So at the end of the day, if you're going to go out there, it's about recruiting, and it'll be very interesting to see how much money Colorado pushes to the table to retain Deion Sanders, because a lot of people are saying, I know he talked to Adam Schefter, and he said, look, yeah, the Cowboys are, making, I'm not saying I'm interested. I'm not saying I'm not, but I'm not, people thinking I'm using this as a money ploy to get more money out of Colorado. But hey, if you want to win, you pay for what you want. You know what I mean? Like, hey, if Colorado want to spend that big money to retain Deion Sanders, they pay him. You know what I mean? Calvin, what you think? Is Deion coming to the boys?
No, I don't think so. This is a ploy for Deion to get more NIL money, which we talked about a couple weeks ago. I think that's what it really is, because Deion wants to build a championship contender. I'm not saying necessarily in Colorado, but that's where he is right now. But I don't think Deion's coming to Dallas. You're going from someone who has full control over the roster to not having any control over the roster. I don't think Deion knows what he's walking into and using it as a ploy to get more from Colorado. I got no problem with that.
What you think, Justin?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more than that. I don't think he wants the Dallas job. I think he knows what that entails. He would know better than most people. But has anyone filled that Raiders spot yet? No, they have not.
Nobody filled a lot of spots.
Maybe Raiders, saying, Jacksonville,
Dallas.
That those are all nice. Is that one team, because that's the number one team that Shador wants to go to. He wants to trade up to get him for the Raiders. Or he can just say, I don't want to play for your franchise or your team, and see how that works.
We've seen that before.
So how they going to get Travis?
It's not unprecedented.
How they going to get Travis?
It got nothing to do with that. It don't got nothing to do with that. It's about Shador. And then go get Shiloh later on in the draft, which no one will probably have any issues with.
You could probably get him undrafted. I think you could.
So you're probably right. So that
be like Giannis,
if you have both of them, with Tom Brady as being a co-owner. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I think whatever. But
this is interesting. Okay,
Mike McCarthy, where's he going?
I thought he was going to Chicago. I think he's going to Jacksonville now.
Okay,
he was going to Chicago initially, but I think it's Jacksonville.
Okay, in New Orleans, they filled that vacancy already.
I think it's. I heard it was going to be defensive coordinator of the Lions, because he has ties to the area. That was the last I heard, because I heard they hadn't even interviewed anyone else except for him.
Just an update. Notre Dame just scored. The score is 31-23 with just over 4 minutes left. So a one possession game. Game is not over, guys. Maybe we crown Ryan Day a little early.
Let me go see what his bio, what his cash out is right quick.
Yo, if you think about this, they missed a field goal a second ago. Had they made that field goal, right now it's a 5-point game. It'd be 5 points.
No, they up 6, right? They up 31.
It's an 8-point game.
They up 8.
Okay.
31-20, 31-23.
Okay.
Yeah. It's still a one possession game, but again, you dig yourself that big of a hole, it's harder to come back. Now your defense got Bowers back, but that was a sensational play call on that. That was sensational. Anyway, they went for 2 and got
someone made a phone call. Hey man, we're losing viewers. Go ahead. Don't make this interesting.
Hey, Ryan, they choked this game away. They fired his ass on the
field. He's done. He's done. Everything I just said. All that I just said. That included the championship.
And blew a big lead in the national title game. Yeah, bro. They fired you on the field tonight.
Boy, don't you show me in Ohio.
Before we get out of here, because we do have, it's not 11 yet, but what was your favorite national championship game since you've been watching college football? What's your favorite national title game? Justin, I'll start with you if you can recall your favorite.
Miami. Yeah, the Ed Reeves in them year. Yeah, that was that to me was
2004.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Miami Ohio State one. I thought that's what you was going.
That
No,
was
not that one.
It was
That
02,
was
I thought.
that was
Maurice
McGahee, if
Claret.
I'm not mistaken. And
Yeah, that was McGahee.
Maurice
The one when
Claret.
McGahee messed up his knee. Yeah.
His
Yeah,
leg.
messed up his knee.
How
Yeah.
about you, Calvin?
Probably the one I enjoyed watching the most was probably Texas USC.
I was gonna say that.
It's like 06.
This young, yeah. Yo,
I didn't want Texas to win. I
that
wanted
was the
USC
best
to win,
ending
but that
ever,
was
man.
yeah.
Reggie Bush, Matt Lyon, Lindell White.
I'll say Alabama, Ohio State. I guess that might have been like 10 years ago. That was the Zeke come out game. I think it was the first year of the playoff, the 14 playoff. As a matter of fact.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
I liked the Tua and Jalen Hurts game too. Remember when Jalen
against Georgia?
Yeah. Tua took over.
Tua threw the game-winning touchdown to Devontae.
Yeah. Woo! That's when I was really into Alabama, and they had to come back for that game.
Yeah.
Nah, man,
you can go back and look the other way and see Bryce Young throwing that interception against Georgia. They took to the house.
Yeah. But nah, man, when Vince Young came down there and scored that game-winning touchdown, and then the orange and white confetti was coming down, and he was in the corner in the end zone, he was the man back then. Everybody just knew he was going to go to the league and be great.
Jeff Fisher. Ain't believe in him.
Auburn 2010. That's Cam Newton.
Oh yeah, Cam.
Against Oregon.
Yeah,
that dude
Mariota.
He did it all. He did it all.
He had Cadillac. He had Cadillac, didn't he?
No.
Who had Cadillac?
Cadillac and Ronnie Brown were in the same. They were like 05, 06.
But that was Auburn, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Auburn. But
I was just thinking Auburn. Yeah. Cam was 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the quarterback with Ronnie Brown and Cadillac?
I had to look that up. The only reason I know because remember Ronnie Brown was in the league and when Ricky Williams was in Miami, they was doing that Wildcat stuff.
Yeah.
So it was pre-2010.
When he said Auburn, that's just where my mind went.
Yeah.
Or Cadillac.
Y'all did.
Yeah. That's where my mind went when you said Auburn. Cam came out in 20.
Yeah. Because that was the first year. That was the first year that they had the rookie salary cap, rookie salary scale. Because Bradford came out 09.
Oh yeah, Sam Bradford went to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Man, college football used to be fun. Remember when the BCS used to be, and you never really knew who the champion was until it'd be like the
final poll.
Yeah, the points and all that kind of stuff. Man, I used to hate that because back when Miami won the title that one year, they didn't even name them. Notre Dame bowing their back, man. This might be crazy, but anyway, we get out of here on that. But college football was a good season. I think the tournament was a good idea. We'll see them make some tweaks to it. But we'll see. If y'all watching this game, it might be the upset city. Notre Dame come back. Y'all might be seeing a firing for the first time ever.
Talking about Mark Andrews on suicide watch,
with
all respect to all those, that suffering and all that. But Ryan,
if Freeman pull this off, baby, if he pull this off, damn, it's the best coaching job in America. Golly.
Oh, other thing, Justin, did you see Santana went to Toronto? I meant to say that earlier.
Yeah, man, I just seen that.
Yeah,
I just seen that. Just another bat.
It didn't.
Was he
for
good?
The money,
like 90 mil?
For the money he got, you could have gave him 3-4 years and 90 mil.
Exactly.
I wouldn't have said that. So yeah, more thoughts. So we can talk about it next week when we got more time. But yeah, he hit 40 home runs this year, I think. After starting
he was a 40 home run hitter. The Orioles. Oh man, I was getting cheap again.
Kerstead better be worth it. That's all I'm gonna say. Kerstead better be worth it because he could have been gone, in my opinion. Get some more pitching, but we'll talk about that next week. I gotta look into it a little bit more.
All right, guys. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. If you didn't notice, I held back a lot because I was very pissed off about the Ravens, to be quite honest with you. But I'm a professional. And when you come here to get off the damn fence, you're expecting me to handle myself exactly like that, like a professional. But if you want my real true emotions, watch the video I recorded earlier today. I'm posting it on my Facebook later tonight. It's profanity laced, so I'm just letting y'all know that right off the bat. So
It's
look,
profanity laced.
I was pissed.
So that's why you were so professional. You had already quote unquote got to exercise your own demons early.
Yes, I
was
did.
like,
I mean, it was
ain't
bad.
no way.
My girlfriend was here. She said, "You can't put that out there in the ether. You can't do that. You got too many people from the church who watch this show." I say, I agree. I know they do tune in, but I'm gonna just put a warning, a card on the front of this one, guys. I was hot. Okay, I wanted Mark Andrews to go jump off that bridge, but I took it back and I said, "Lord, no. I don't wish death upon anybody." But I was pissed. I might not even post it. At this point, I think this show was therapeutic for me. And I think I did handle this correctly. So I think I won't even post the video. Andrews, I wish you nothing but the best. Calvin, you kind of talked me off the cliff. Thank you, my brother. You are the man. You're such a diplomatic season ticket holder.
I try.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good one. We'll be back next week on our regularly scheduled night. Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord. Well,
he scored. Okay, it's a wrap. Okay.
He threw a bomb. Close that door. It was 3rd and 10. All you had to do was get one stop. They punt and you get a chance.
That was terrible coverage.
Man, look at this. 1-on-1. Oh, he beat him off the block. What coverage? You call that coverage? Lord help. Y'all go and watch the rest of this game. It was pretty fun. Y'all have a good one. We'll be back on our regular night next week, Tuesday night. Get off the damn fist with Calvin and Justin. I'm Larry. We'll see you next week. Damn.